Hey there, sitting on the other side of this video. Hi, this is Darshan Jain and I welcome you to my YouTube channel, that is the Indian Developer. This is a continuation video of a very famous dataset that we are exploring, that is the machine learning from disaster. This dataset is hosted by Kaggle. You can find the link to the dataset as well as to the competition in the description below. Also, if you haven't watched the first video yet, I would recommend you to pause this video, go back and check the first video and come back here. You can find the link to the first video in the description below. Alright, so let's get started. In this video, let me first tell you what are the new things that we'll be doing that we didn't do in the previous part. That is, we will be adding few new features and also we will be exploring few models to train our data. So if you remember in the previous baseline video, we have explored the features that I have shown in the right green mark, and now in this video I'll be exploring all the features that I've explored in the previous video. Apart from that, two new features, that is fair and age. These two features will also be explored. Also in the previous video, we have just trained the data on logistic regression. So in this video, I'll be showing you how we can train our data on these 5 models. So here I have created a new notebook as I have shown you in the previous video. As you all know that when we create a new notebook on Kaggle, we get this block of code ready. So let me run this thing. Also, I would want you to make a note of one thing here, that we will not be going in depth of all the steps that we have followed in the previous video. So for all those steps, we will move a bit fast. So here from the location given for the data frame files, let me pull the data and read it. So I can see that this is the information of the data. Also, let me check first 5 rows. So I can do this by traindf.head function, and let me perform the similar thing for test data frame as well. So I can see some information about test data frame as well. So as I've mentioned you previously, we will be exploring two new columns, that is age and fair. So let's not drop those columns. So let me add those columns. And once if I run these things, these 3 columns will be dropped from train and test data frames respectively. And let me see a fresh copy of both the data frames. So I see that there are 0 to 8, that is 9 features for train dataset, and 0 to 7, 8 features for test dataset. So as you all remember, there are 2 thumb rules that we are following. One is that we need to check for nulls if any, and then we need to fix those nulls as well. So coming back here, let us write a small piece of code which will give us all the nulls present in train and test data frames. So by this piece of code, that is traindf.isNull.sum, it will give us how many numbers of nulls are there in individual features. So let me quickly run it. As you all can see, for all the features, the number of nulls is 0. But for 2 features, that is age and embarked, the nulls is 177 and 2. And let us do the same thing for test data frame as well. So here I can see there are some null values for age and some null values for fair. So as you remember that we have to fix these null values and only then we can move ahead. So as you remember in the previous video, we have learned how to fill the nulls in embarked column. So we will do the same thing here. We will not go in deep. So by these 2 blocks of code, I have replaced all the nulls in embarked column by most repeated value, that is S. Now we have to think about how we can manage to fill the null values in 2 features, that is age and fair. So to do that, let us take a value count of both the features, and I can see that some values, like I don't see that one of the values is getting repeated a lot of times. That's why I cannot replace the nulls by mode, and same is the case with age feature as well. So what we will do here is we will fill all the nulls by mean value of the entire column. So we have combined both the data frames and we have iterated a for loop over it. As you all can see here, fill null function is used to fill the nulls by fair.mean and age.min. So by this, all the nulls in train and test data frame for age and fair features will be filled by mean value. Let us run this block of code. and let us check once again what is the status of null values in train and test data frames. So for test data frames, all the nulls are gone, and for the train data frame as well, all the nulls are gone. So now if I see the information for both the data frames that I have as of now, all the nulls are gone. So now if I see the info of both the data frames, I can see that all the nulls are gone. Before moving ahead, let us do one small thing here. That is, we will do some data pre-processing on age and fare features. Now you may ask why we are doing that, because already all the nulls are filled and age and fare are already in the given format, that is int or float. Then why we are doing this? So the reason to that is given below. So the explanation of that would be something like this. So to explain that, let us first see value count of all the entries in age feature. So I can see that there are many values and none of the numbers are getting repeated, like there is no range of it. So whenever you see any age or a numeric value, and if you can try to bring them in certain groups, and then you can collaborate them and treat that one group as one unit. In such cases you can do pre-processing, which I'll be showing you right now. So here I am showing you something which I want you to consider before and after of it. So if you consider this block of code, what we are doing here is we are taking a group by of age and survived column, and we are grouping that entire group by age feature, and we are sorting it by survived column. And when I do this and I run this part of code, I can see that there are some values with 1.0 as survival, that is survived, and 0.0 that is dead. So this view is something that you can see now, and when I do some pre-processing on it, and I'll again show you the output of this block of code, and you will see the difference here. So as I mentioned that we will be creating groups. Now how do we create groups for data given in age and fare column? So to do that, let us run a small piece of code, that is, let us use a function called as qcut, and to use that, let us write this piece of code, that is, so in order to create groups, we will write some code here, and in that we will be using a function called as qcut given by pandas. So let me quickly write some code here. pd dot qcut tempfare, 5, and let me show you the value counts as well. So as you all can see here that the entire data frame is divided into 5 parts based on equal number of values into each bucket. Let us do same thing for age feature as well. And we will be taking 6 buckets here. I will show you why we are taking 6 buckets as well. So suppose we are taking 6 buckets here. Suppose I make it 5. I can see that all the numbers are equally distributed, like more or less equally distributed. But if I make it 4, or if I make it 4, so I can see that in the first in this bucket there are 330 values, but in this bucket there are 113 values. So to make it evenly distributed, let us take 5 as the number of buckets, and now we will be replacing numbers by this range. So how do we do that? I'll show you. So let us write a block of code here, that is, create a data frame, that is, data equal to train df comma test df, and for data set in data set dot locate data set fair, comma, fair where values is less than equal to 7.854, comma, the feature name, that is fair, will be equal to 0. Now you may argue that from where did I get this value 7.854. So if you can see here, what we will be do is all the values falling in range of 0.001 minus 0.001 to 7.854, we will give them value as 0. For all the values from 7.84 to 10.5, we will give value as 1. From 10.5 to 2.21.69, 2, and so on and so forth. So let me just copy this code here. So fair less than greater than equal to 7.854 and dataset dot fair less than equal to 10.5, this will be equal to 1. So similarly we will write it for 2, 3 and 4. So 10.5 here and 21.69 here, then 21 to 39, 21 to 39.68, then 39 to above, less than, we can replace it by one code, that is anything above 39.68 will be into column number 4. And also we will do one thing here, that we will rename the type of the field here. Fair is equal to dataset fair dot s type int, and if I run this part of code, that is fair dot value counts, I have made a small mistake here. I have to write single and not double and here. Also I forgot to add round braces here, so let me quickly do that. And now if I run this code, you see the output as 0 to 5 and all the numbers in this range, 184, 180, 179, 176, 172, same values you will see here. So we'll do the same thing for age column as well. So let me write it here. We are creating 5 buckets here as well. So anything less than 20.0 should be a 0. Let me replace all the fair by age. And then second range would be 20 to 28. Third range is 28 to 29.669. Fourth range is 29.669 to 38. And anything above 38 will be in the fifth range. So let me run this as well and show you the output. I can see that the output is in the given format. So this is the data pre-processing that we did for age and fair column. And now, as I've told you, that I'll be showing you the difference in the output. So if you go back here and run this piece of code once again, you will see considerable difference in the output. So as you can see here now that the same group by that we did previously and the same group by that we are doing now, I can see that the entire values are divided into 5 buckets, and now this distribution is very easy to understand. That's why we did the data pre-processing. So before moving ahead, let us have a final view at all the nulls that we have filled up. So to do that, let us run this part of code, and I can see that all the values in the train data frame have got 891 not nulls, and in the test data frame 418 not nulls, which means the nulls constraint is been taken care. And now the second constraint is to bring all the object type features into integer or float type. So to do that, I can see that in the train data frame there is one feature called as sex, the other feature called as embug. Both are of type object. So the solution to this is already been given in the previous video. Also for test data frame, sex and embug column have got object type values. So this both the things were explained in the previous video. Let me run it, and I can see that I am using label encoding, that is replacing S by 0, C by 1, Q by 2, male by 0 and female by 1. And if I do the final check on my data frame, I can see that all the nulls are gone. Also all the data, all the features are in the given format. So yes, now our data is ready to be trained. So now we will separate our X and Y's and we will prepare our data for training on the model. So to do that, we will use the code from the previous video. That is, we have X train or Y train. With X train has got all the columns apart from these two columns, and all Y train has got survived column, and same is the case with X test. And let me run this part of code. And as you all remember, we have done coding with logistic regression. So I've used the same code here, and let me run this code to see the output of the score of the logistic regression, that is 80.47. Now as I've mentioned here, we will be working with SVM, naive Bayes, rich classifier and k nearest neighbor. So I would want you to follow the steps exactly as I'm doing it, which will make you very comfortable while using sklearn. So let us open a new tab, type sklearn svm classifier, and you need to check on the first link that is given. As I've explained you in the previous video, you have to go to the bottom of this page and just import the library and use this code as it is with some minor changes which I will show you. So this classifier's name is svm. So let us copy this classifier everywhere, and this logistic regression is to be replaced by svc. This is not required. svm.fit, this is correct, and svm.score, this is also correct, and accuracy of svm. So if I run this part of code, I see that the accuracy is slightly better than logistic regression, that is accuracy of the trained data. Now let us try same thing with Gaussian naive Bayes. So svm sklearn Gaussian naive Bayes classifier. So you have to wait and click the first link, do the same process again, that is go to the bottom of this page, import the library, and then you have to create a classifier here. So let us name this classifier as Gaussian naive Bayes, and then let me copy the code from here to make it a bit fast. Let me replace all the svm classifier by Gaussian naive Bayes classifier, and let me change this value by GNB, that is Gaussian naive Bayes accuracy. And if I run this part of code, I see that the accuracy score on trained data frame is 79%. So next we will be dealing with rich classifier. So let me see the code for rich classifier here. If I come to the page, I have to go down. I have to copy this part of code. I've copied this code, and then as I can see here that I have to create a classifier, I have to fit it, and I can get the score. So let us copy the things from here. Let us replace the G and B by rich classifier, and let us change the classifier name as well, and let us change this variable name, that is rich classifier. And if you run this part of code, you see that the accuracy score is 79.91. and also let us try this value by this same procedure by KNN, that is k nearest neighbor classifier, KNN classifier. So similarly, you have to go to the first link, go to the sklearn documentation, go to the bottom and copy the code that is given in the example section, and you have to check for the exact same code. So let me rename the classifiers, that is CLF underscore KNN, and let me copy this part of code from here. Also I have to change x and y by xtrain and ytrain, and I have to change this classifier name here. Also I need to change the value of the accuracy score variable, and I think I'm good to run this part of code. And I can see that the accuracy is 84.96%. So I have 5 models and I have accuracy for all the 5 models. I can see that the best accuracy that I'm getting is from k nearest neighbor. So what we will do is we will generate my y predictions using the KNN classifier. So let me use this KNN classifier to create my uh, y prediction values, and when I run it, I have my y prediction value in ypred, and this part of the code was also shown to you in the previous video. So let me quickly run this code and create my output. As you all remember, we have to click on the save and run for all button, and we need to wait here till this entire processing is done. Once this is done, it will take us to the leaderboard section, and there first we need to submit our output, and then only we can see the score on the leaderboard. So I hope that there would be some enhancements on the score that we got from while running the previous video and while after running this video. Also, this video was very informative as we've learned how to add new features, how to do data pre-processing. So I've clicked on this view button. As I see here, um, I can see that there is one section called as output. I need to click on output, and I need to then submit my values to the leaderboard. It might take few seconds. So as I click on submit, this scores will be submitted to the leaderboard, and I need to click on view my submissions to see my rankings on the leaderboard. So it says that it has completed my submission, and once I click on jump to my position, it will show me my current position. So it says that my current score, like the score that I got while running this while submitting values with KNN, is 0.7344, which is not an improvement as we got 7.77 with the logistic regression. So this may be a difference, like the score that we saw here was on the trained data frame, and in trained data frame maybe the logistic regression, maybe as per what we see here, the k nearest neighbor is performing well, but the leaderboard is calculating scores based on the test data frame. That's why there is difference that we see, and that's where I can say that for test data frame, logistic regression performed well. So I hope you've liked this video, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would request you to click on the subscribe button and keep continuing and keep watching the videos. Also, if you have any suggestions regarding what you didn't understood in this video, or if there's any easy explanation required, please write down your views in the comments below. Have a good day.